In this section, we are going to talk about building in the Stripe integration. So if you're unfamiliar with Stripe, Stripe is a platform that allows us to handle online payments, which doing from scratch is actually an extremely lengthy ordeal and undertaking to do, not just in terms of coding the elements on the front end, but also the logistics of handling payments, international payments, payments online, taking credit cards, how to properly secure and store credit card information, and then actually checking against the banks and then doing a proper e-commerce flow. It's all extremely lengthy and difficult for us to do. But what Stripe as a platform does is it actually hides that all and handles it all for us. And it gives us a very easy interface to interact with and bring into our front-end applications. Now, what we're using is this Stripe button that allows us to fire off this element where we can fill in our information, right? And we can provide a test credit card, which we have listed here, which will then handle an artificial payment, right? And it's essentially all of the elements required in order to properly do payment flow on our front end. Now, in order to actually create charges, however, it requires a backend server, which we're not going to do in this lesson. We can cover it in an advanced lesson near the end of the course. But for the purposes of our project, we just want to demonstrate that we have this final flow considered, as well as show our ability in integrating with a service like Stripe so that we understand the requirements of what it's like. Now, if we go to the Stripe website, with this bank number field, and then they have bank drop downs, which will give you an ability to select which bank you want depending on what region you're in. And usually to use these, they're just the elements, and then you pass a certain configurations as properties. But beyond that, they also have these payment style forms that we can leverage. So this is actually a more comprehensive version of those form fields put together. You can even pull in this Pay Now field, which allows you to leverage your browser's built-in payment processing system. So there's a lot of options that Stripe provides for us to use however we want inside of our service. But the one that we want to use is going to be this dropdown. And we're only going to build the front end of it. So we're not actually going to handle the payment until a later lesson because it requires us to actually write some backend code, some Node or Express code. And even then, I'm going to minimize the amount of code that we have to write just to handle the payment. But that lesson is not entirely necessary for React. That is more so just if you're interested in seeing what it's like to fully flesh out the flow of handling a test payment inside of your Stripe account. I'm going to show you how that looks at the very end of the course. But right now for us and for our project that we want to show to potential employers, we just want to show our ability to integrate with the service, fire off this element, and then show a flow in some kind that makes sense of a user checking out and paying with this Stripe integration. Now, before we actually begin bringing it in, we just have to make a Stripe account, which is free. And all you have to do is go to the sign in on the website, and then you sign up if you don't have one. If you do, just log in. And once you log in, I will see you in the next lesson where we bring this into our application.